So right now, these products are all referencing these little SVG images that are these placeholders here. These aren't stored anywhere. These are just SVG files that are ephemeral in our code. For e-commerce, you want your images to load really fast so that your site is not slow. And generally, you would use a content delivery network image hosting for that. And there are a ton of them out there. I wanted to show you one that is nice and easy to use. It is imagekit.io. They have a pretty capable free plan for your development work, and then they're not too expensive for hosting images going into production. There's so many places you could host images. You could do it on Vercel Blobs. You could do Supabase has its own CDN. So if you're using Supabase, you can host images there. This app is not using Supabase, so we're not doing that. You can set up an AWS bucket on Amazon. What you can do is upload your images here. And we are just going to upload the images that I made images for 3 of the products. So let me pull those over here and drag and drop them in. This is our ecom store. Just getting the folder opened up. Drag and drop these images in. It gives you basically a URL that you can use for each of the products. Okay. So there we have those. Let's see if we can get one of these uploaded to our database here. Now, because we have the Postgres tool, we're just going to go ahead and use that. So let's see here. Do these have any IDs? Yeah. So this is product ID 2 that we have a image for right here. So we're going to copy the URL like this. And if you were to look at that URL, it's just like that. We're going to go over to our tool, new topic, new chat. This is not a complex topic, so we'll save some credits and take this down to a lower model. If I change the model here, just use fewer credits for a simple task. Please use the Postgres MCP to update the following product images. The database. We're going to do ID 2 image like this. Let's see if it does 1, and then we'll do the remaining 2. All right, Matthew, you have a question for context window. It's new topic, new chat. What's the practice for restarts? If you make a change, restart it. You don't have to. If you want to pay close attention to whether the change is back end or front end, then you can restart it. If it's a back end change, it's front end change, it's probably going to hot reload. But when in doubt, or if you don't know, just make a change, restart it. It doesn't hurt. It hurts nothing. It's running over here. It's not able to find the .env. Oh, it's wandering around. Sonnet is lost. It is in env. Here's I'm going to turn off thinking it seems to be really lost here. Whenever I see it wandering around, I like to check and see if there is a recent error with Anthropic. And if we look here, there were some recent errors here. And I find that these trickle out. So they might roll out a fix and it takes a while to actually reach you. But whenever I see that sort of behavior where it's just kind of wandering around and seeming lost, you can pretty much always pop over here and say, yep, the Claude models are feeling bad today. And if you look at the date stamps on these, the Claude models have been feeling badly quite often over the past week. They are struggling a little bit. There's just a lot over usage, a lot of people using them, which is another reason I wanted to test out the Gemini Flash connection today, but it jumped right into doing its write tool commands in plain text. Go. So it is looking, this is that tool that I shared in the chat. the Postgres inspector tool. So it's going to propose an update. You can see all of the features available to any of your MCP tools. If you go in Windsurf to settings and manage your MCPs, you can go over here to your tool and see everything that's available to it. Those are the functionality pieces that the tool has. Those are the ones I built into this one. All right, let's take a look and see if that image showed up for item 2. It has been updated. You can see that. And there is the image. Now we're going to check and see if it is actually being pulled through to the front. And there's our image. Looks like we need to work on some image resizing, but this again confirms that our data is now pulling directly from the database. I'm on local and I'm connected to the same database as the live version, which this doesn't seem, oh, you know what? We haven't pushed out those changes to the live version. So let's go ahead and update the rest of the images and then push that out so that the live version can have the database connection changes that we made here. So we will say this, use the same process to update these other 2. And I'm doing it this way because we have the MCP tool in place and I haven't built an interactive front end to edit product data right now. And I don't really want to go through and debug this editor right now because the errors we're seeing with this could just be a Railway issue, since we can interact with it directly just fine. And that could be a Railway problem we're trying to fix that we don't need to fix right now. So we're going to go over here and say that this original URL is the wireless earbuds. And what is the ID for that one? So the earbuds are ID 4. Image is this. And ID, we want to do the fast phone charger is ID 1. We're going to copy that image URL over here. And again, we're just using ImageKit for the hosting so that it's accessible from anywhere. And those images would be just like anything you'd find on a website. They have their own URL here, but ImageKit has a CDN built in, so the images load really fast. Okay. It's doing that update. While that is updating, we shouldn't be changing any files here. So we're going to go ahead and get our commit ready here. We're building this on main. When you're doing your initial build, that's absolutely fine. If you want to get a little bit more professional about it, you could do feature branches. So, each thing you're doing, you could do a branch and then a pull request and merge. Right now, since this is just an example, we're going to keep it on main. Sync that up. And we should see we have more images here. There we are. They come in after the page loads because that is a feature. This is built in Next.js. That's a feature in Next.js that allows the images to lazy load by default, which is better for page speed. So I am okay with that. And we have our images here. Okay, let's see how that build is running. Now, if you haven't used Railway before, it is connected to that branch. And every time I push a change out, it goes ahead and redeploys, but it's a hot swap. So the site that you have is still live while it's being deployed. It just doesn't have any of the changes. And then I have Stripe up here in case we get to this point today. And this would be where we get our sandbox keys. This is just a sandbox environment. I recommend if you're doing any Stripe setups, do that. Okay. Do a sandbox environment. That way you can easily test and not have to worry about messing with your main account, because I've seen people do builds and they send a bunch of test transactions through to their live account, and then their live account gets suspended because it looks like bad traffic or somebody trying to hack it. And then you have to argue with Stripe for days. So just avoid that and use the test environment. Okay. We've updated all of those. We're going to pop back over here to our plan. We are a little over halfway through today's allotted time. Let's go ahead and take a look at what we have in this task list. So we need an order repository. We have Stripe payment processing, payment routes, checkout form. I would like, let's see here. We can go ahead through this plan. I feel like I would like to see a admin backend built out with authentication before we go much further. We have our database connection now, so we can set up our authentication. This is the proposed plan via AI skill sets, but I think we need to go ahead and get our backend set up so we can access the products, access orders, access customers, everything like that, what you need for managing an e-commerce store. New topic, new chat. We'll put on plan mode. Let's get to a little bit bigger model here. We're going to start with do not make changes, just like my hat says. Thank you for the hat, Matthew. I say this all the time, and he had me a hat made for it. Okay. Look over the code and tell me if there is any admin order management portal already stubbed out. If not, outline for me what it would take to build the following. Admin access with simple auth using our database, product management page. We want a customers management page and that should have been a 3, shouldn't it? And an orders, keeping them all simple, even table editors are fine. Do not make changes. Table editors are kind of cool because if you can just get yourself a nice little interface that pulls in the data and you can click in it, type it, click save without having to build a WYSIWYG editor from scratch or import Quill or something like that into your libraries. Be nice and easy. And we're trying to keep this store very basic, not bring in a bunch of fanciness. We want to get it to the end and production quickly, but have every feature we need for proper order taking. All right. It is looking through the database here, looking at all of our files. Let's see what it comes up with at the end here. We did this store in V0 by Vercel, so we could get a Next.js. That's what they tend to build with, is Next.js, because Vercel is the company that made Next.js, so it kind of makes sense. But I thought I would show you, if I can pull it up, how a similar prompt would have looked on Bolt. So I'm going to see if I can move my screen around here and pull this up in Bolt, just so you can compare. This, I told it to do single product instead of a micro store that can have multiple products. So this is a single product store, but a similar type layout or a similar type command. And everything here is static coded. So this doesn't have anything connected to it. It's just a landing page, basically, with a product page. I like what it built as far as the visuals. And specifically, I would like to take this visual, because we don't currently have a product page template built into the new one yet, and just bring this product page template in as our visual. So I used Awesome Screenshot there, took a screenshot of the whole page. We're going to tell that done. I'm going to download that into the files for this application. That way I have that image and can reference it for building the product page. Just make a really simple one since it doesn't have one at the moment. When you go into these products, you can't click on them and go into them right now. Looks like Railway may be having a little bit of an adventure today. Just logged me out. It'll be this one here. I did mention a bit ago that we might have been facing a Railway database editor issue. I do not see this production version pulling in the products. Let's give that a little test locally. Wrong command. We're going to build that and see if we run into a error accessing the database with a build here. Seems fine. Okay. So just on production that we're not pulling that information in. We will debug that in a little bit. Since it just logged me out randomly and dropped the whole thing, I think we might be dealing with a little bit of an issue on Railway. We'll continue adding features on dev, and then we can debug that later if it doesn't come back online after our next push. All right, let's take a look here. What did it write down? No admin order management portal stubbed out. Okay, needs to add the tables, simple login, product management page, customer management page, order management page, admin components. Okay, this looks pretty straightforward. Thanks for watching. If you want to see more videos like this, please like and follow. And if you need help building or finishing your app, click the link in my bio to book a one-on-one Zoom call to take a look at your project.